CIA headquarters. Welcome, Matt and Alicia. Good to see you again. Good to see you. So wonderful. Thank you. Wow, we've been going through the past, and now we're at the present.
No, it feels like we're in the future. This is amazing.
确实，我们已经在 people. Are they former CIA detectives to you?
No, honestly, it feels like we were waiting to come out, standing behind the curtain, and Alicia said to me, I wonder what's behind this curtain. And to come out into this like incredible architecture and to see all of you, this is really, really wonderful.
Yeah, and this is a huge popular asking some of the questions to both of you before we go to the press for some further. So, 14 years already in Jason Bourne movie, 9 years after the last one. What is it like, Matt, to be once again in Jason Bourne?
Well, I think, and I talked a lot to the group of people who made the night with people and worked together, and this story that we've been telling for 14 years now is a big part of all of our lives. Everybody who worked on the movie, we love the story, we love the character, and I think to go almost a decade and be able to come back and do it again, you know, we're all older now, and we felt really lucky to be able to do that.
More mature, should we put it that way?
Maybe not more mature, older. Well, I'm at a very different time in my life now, you know.
How?
You know, to be on the set and to have my 4 children with me and my wife, and, you know, it is very different than walking through that tunnel and seeing myself when I was almost Alicia's age, and remembering, you know, being a young guy in Paris and you know, making my first action movie ever and wondering if anybody would accept me as an action star, and I'm in a very different place now.
A very different place, yes indeed. Compared to Matt, who is a veteran, of course, of this franchise, Alicia,
the newbie,
is a newcomer. The newcomer, not necessarily, I assume, because you have been a fan of Jason Bourne, the franchise, for a long time. But what is it for you to come here as the actress, the most important one in the movie this time?
Well, it's been pretty surreal. I mean, from the moment that I met Paul Greengrass the first time, when I got a script sent to me which actually said Bourne on it. I was as intrigued as I hope all the other fans are of seeing what the next step and what journey our character was going to be on this time, and to walk on, you know, the set the first day was quite a pinch me moment in that sense. It's a really interesting character that I, as an actor, you know, really look forward to taking on. But it was a wonderful experience. But like Matt said, it was one of the most wonderful things was to kind of come into that room and see that it was like a reunion of people that have really worked, you know, enjoyed working together, and that they, with open arms, invited me to come and join, have some fun.
他说掐我一下，我真的是不是在现实当中能够真的在 Jason Bourne 这样的电影当中扮演角色 I cannot and I dare not to pinch you, all capable women you are playing.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting. I mean, a lot of people leading up to now the premiere of this film have asked me, you know, this is your first action film, and they kind of ask me about all the action scenes that they kind of, you know, assume that I will be in. And this film is a bit different, but she is very much a woman, a strong female character who kind of works in the shadows, and in one way is, you know, part of how the real power structure works nowadays. She's kind of, you know, she's a cyber technician, and she kind of is able to make the action happen through what she knows as a hacker and what she does at the CIA.
That's really what I want to ask you. I mean, are you as strong as you show yourself in the movies? Very capable, cyber savvy all the time, be able to get into all kinds of systems. Are you personally like that in real life?
I don't think so. I have wonderful people who gave me confidence enough, I hope, to try and do just that. And I mean, with all the kind of things that I had to maybe, you know, in research for the role, I had some incredible people who have similar abilities, like heavily in this film, who could kind of introduce me to that world and teach me a few things.
That world includes Matt? there? Or your kids mainly
No.
are playing the major role there?
If I have a problem, I give my phone to my kids, and they figure it out. Yeah.
Yes, the world has changed so much, really. But that you have also some friends in the intelligence circle, people you research on. What do they feel about?
And, I've talked to a lot of people who are in the military who really love these movies, and so I think there's kind of a big audience in general for the character. I think we always wanted to make a character that felt relatable for everybody. For everybody to kind of. I think there's something about the Jason Bourne character that people can identify with, and they want to be on his side.
Yes, indeed. But one of the things about this movie is really you are being the thinking man and the thinking women's James Bond. So that's very different from just action movie itself. So how could that happen? I mean, how could you be able to come up with all of these wonderful details that make people feel intelligently involved in the plots?
Well, I think with these movies, we always want the characters to behave in a smart way. And all the characters, not just the Bourne character. We want everyone to do the things that we think is the smartest thing they could do at that moment. And that's not, I mean, I've always liked movies where the protagonist is smarter than me and makes a decision faster than I did, but I realize a second later, oh yeah, that is what I would have, I hope I would have done that too.
Is that always what you feel about Alicia when she was playing the role in the movie?
Well, with Alicia, what we wanted to establish was that there was this new generation behind Bourne that was coming up that had a skill set that he did not have, and that was a threat to him because he's always been able to elude capture, as in the analog way, but suddenly there's this whole new arena of cyber warfare that he doesn't really understand, and she's a master of it, and so suddenly this young person comes up and is able to track him and locate him and pinpoint where he is, and that's never happened to him.
That's really girl power in a way.
Yeah, it's girl power.
Therefore, Alicia, that's very interesting because this is the very first time that a female character goes, quote unquote, against Jason Bourne with the mind rather than with physical strength. So when you played that role, there was no precedent set before you. How did you get into that character and make sure that it's going to be the one, probably in the future as well?
Well, I think, I love the fact that I asked Paul quite early on, I was impressed by the fact, or I was questioning even, that a young person could have that kind of role at the CIA, that she had made that kind of career.
What did you question, Paul or Matt?
I didn't meet Matt until the first day on my when I was shooting, actually. So it was Paul, but he told me and introduced me, and also with the people that I met. It was interesting. I met one guy who was actually a cyber researcher at Google in London, and you get kind of in that office, most people are under 30, and it kind of comes with this new generation. Oh,
are you typing
tech
back?
savvy?
Wave, everybody!
Send that to me. So I was impressed by this new young generation of young people who I kind of imagined that she maybe started off as a prodigy hacker, was into video games and computers, and then, at a very young age, because of the very deep passion that she had, she got very, involved in tech. And then it's also this element in the film where they have the lead character and the Aaron Kalor character, who's kind of on each, far end of the conflict in this film, which is, security versus privacy with this social media company and the CIA. And in a small scene, you get the knowledge that they have a background in the sense that they come from the same school and they got educated together. And I think that's interesting. That it's all these new young talent who has kind of the key to power, and it's about what they choose to do with it.
It's amazing, the younger generation, what they can achieve. It's also amazing, Matt, I have to say, in the movie, you really involve a lot of wonderful plots.
It would create controversy. I think what we've always tried to do with these movies is make them feel like they're torn from the headlines. And when we sat down and looked at how the world had changed from 2007 when we did the last one to today, it was just incredible. And, you know, I mean, from, you know, this was 2007, George Bush was still the president of America. There was still, you know, this was before the economic collapse. There was, you know, these social media companies were fledgling companies if they existed at all. You know, now there are these massively powerful transnational corporations that wield an incredible amount of power. And, you know, I mean, I was talking to somebody last night. I said, well, the iPad came out in 2011, right? So, I mean, our lives have changed kind of in front of our eyes so incredibly quickly. And then, of course, there's this major issue of privacy versus security and these digital lives that we all have and it's dawned on us that they say a lot about us and who we are and who's privy to that information and who should be. And you know, these are the central questions, I think, that face every country in the world right now. You know, technology is just so rapidly changing all.
But people would ask you, you know, are you expecting people were drinking Coke and having popcorn while at the same time thinking about these all profound questions?
Well, I mean, it's a summer popcorn blockbuster movie, you know, and it has to be that, but they've always had these themes within them, right? So they can be enjoyed at just, if you just want to see cars flying all over the place, you can. But you know, the Bourne movies are always about something, you know, and the last three that we did were very much about that decade and the war on terror and everything that was happening then. And this, you know, movie hopefully is about now.
Alicia, this is amazing because you see lives of people of the world and you see so much going on all at the same time around the world. You're of the same generation as those who probably is protesting in the streets of Greece, probably in Athens. So you see people's fate has been totally changed just within the 3 years. When you were playing a role, do you think about these and how these background and backdrops?
I think, you know, from my own research for this role, it was a lot of the people that I met who are connected to what Heather Lee does in our film. But I mean, I am a fan of this franchise because I felt like I stepped in when I watched the first Bourne movies, and I did enjoy them on a very entertainment, you know, level. But I love that I felt like I got challenged with questions and ideas mixed with that, and I think that what made this franchise stand out, and it felt like you reinvented itself.
我不知道今天的好朋友了解不了解啊？我们台上这两位啊，都是学霸。I'm saying in Chinese because both of you have been greatly educated. One went to Harvard University, did not graduate, but it's okay. you have some fun over there. You have some fun over there. And also Lisa as well, graduated from one of those wonderful universities. Maybe for our family, 我们真的不是只在吃这个爆米花和喝可乐，在看电影的过程中，是我们要跟他们一起来思考。I think people really enjoy what you have just said. Having said that, though, it's not just smart in the movie, but also how you guys choose the movies. Matt, I have to begin with you. Coming from Good Will Hunting, everybody love that movie, don't you? All right, and now we are in Jason Bourne, the fifth of it. How do you smartly choose?
Director. That's really the. No, I'm completely honest. Like,
let's take note.
Having done this for 20 years or however long I've been doing this, you know, my whole adult life, the more that I made movies, the more I realized that the director is really everything. And this is coming from a writer, so I know it's hard for me to say that. But you know, a director can take a solid piece of material and make it great. The wrong director can take a great piece of material and ruin it. And so that really is the most important decision. And then in terms of writing, I mean, you know, I've read so many thousands of scripts and I've written so many scripts that I think just I know what I like, and it's really about if I respond to something emotionally, and when I read it, it gauges. I get interested. Like for instance, The Martian. I read there was no director, and I read it, and I went, I really like this. And the writer was going to direct it, and then he bowed out. And I said, well, let me just keep an eye on this thing and see what happens. And the moment that Ridley Scott was interested, I jumped on it and said, yes, I want to do that.
You use a very simple verb, which is liked it.
The technical stuff is easy. The technical stuff, anybody can write a screenplay. There's a format there. You can download it. You can do it. It's whether or not something moves you, and that's a very personal thing. And so, like for me, is about whether or not something engages me and moves me emotionally. And if it does, then I'll probably do it.
As simple as that, as sophisticated as that. And you, Alicia, as well. You have smartly chosen many of the movies you have worked on. For example, Danish Girl, the wife of this first transgender male. Shouldn't we give her some wonderful...
Choosing a role in the sense, and I would say that what Matt just said is exactly how I feel. I've read scripts and been interested in roles or that I want to tell a certain story, but it's when you normally meet a director and get introduced to that person's vision. Sometimes I have been reading something that I so interested in, but when I walked into the room and had this visionary explaining what they wanted to do, what story they wanted to tell, how to tell it, that's really when I felt like I wanted to be on board, or when I really wanted to fight to be on board. And I it's down to the people that you work with. Again, what he mentioned about that feeling of it's a machinery making films. It's all the different departments coming together, and the films that I've really enjoyed making is when I get to work with a filmmaker, director, and actors and everyone involved, that I really have a creative time.
Like working with Paul Greengrass, which is the director.
And Matt. And
Matt,
and
of course.
Tony and Vincent.
Of course, the list go on. But Matt, I remember you were saying the other day to the press that without Paul Greengrass, you will never work on any other film related to Simone again. And he was saying very similar things. He said, without a good script, usually coming from someone over here, and also without Matt Damon, he's not going to...
Real introduction to the franchise world where, you don't do things kind of in the organic way that we normally make movies. I mean, normally when you make a movie, you've got a completed script and everybody signs off on it, but in the franchise world, they'll greenlight a movie because of its brand, because of its title, and they'll say, you're going to come out on August 3rd, and you're going to be, and you don't have a script, and it was harrowing to kind of live through that, and it was just the maximum amount of pressure I've ever felt in my career, and Paul was the person who was next to me, helping solve the problems. And really, he was the leader for all of us. I mean, to be fair, we were helping him solve the problems, and he was our point person. And I just can't imagine making one of these movies without him. He's just the most critical element.
When you were talking problems, quote unquote, it just reminded me of a wonderful speech you made at MIT for its commencement. And you were saying, face the problems. That's what you're going to do.
Filmmaking is that. Filmmaking is problem solving. It's just engaging with whatever problems are an impediment to your film getting made, from pre-production all the way through post-production. But that's also something that President Clinton said to me, years ago, and that philosophy of engagement was what I was trying to.
And he said it in a very different tone, of course.
Yeah, he did. No, he was very. Forceful when he said it, and very clear. And
what was it like again?
No, he said you have to turn towards the problem. But he's right. But and I realized it sounded like such a simple thing, and it is a simple thing to say, but it is absolutely critical, and it was a wonderful life lesson, and it's true. And that, these problems only get solved when you turn and you face them and you engage with them, no matter what the problem is.
Every problem could become eventually an opportunity. If you work hard for it.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. Talking about problems and opportunities, there are plenty of opportunities for both of you in the movie to do the actions. I'm going to ask you something about that, prepare for that. So, what's it like to do this motorcycle, chase in the very narrow alley of the city of Athens in Greece when you have, almost a riot broke out in the city as a result of the financial crisis in that country? Matt?
Well, look, the reality is that we have incredible stunt teams. and they are so gifted at switching out. And I do the minimum that I do what's safe, and the really dangerous stuff is done by the professional stuntmen. And then I get to take all the credit and say, yeah, it was pretty dangerous.
But this is a real stunt movie that we're really watching. Not any special effect.
No special
real
effects.
actions.
No, we always do it in camera because we feel that the audience knows, they can understand, and we've seen enough of these movies where they're computer, it's animation and people flying around and.
But you could tell. You could tell.
No, you can tell, like
made,
when those cars are flipping over, those are real cars, and we really did that. And the great thing about playing Jason Bourne is that he's an expert in everything, and so my stunt doubles are experts in whatever, so I have like 15 of these people who come and, if I climb down a building, it's the best rock climber in Europe who climbs down the building. And in this case, it was an enduro champion, motorcycle rider, this guy Paul, who came in and did this incredible stuff through those really narrow streets.
Right, of course, there's also car chasing in one of those biggest cities as well.
And Martin, who's doubled me for the last 3 Bourne movies, is this Russian guy. He is out of his mind. He's like an unbelievable driver.
Do you sit on the side chair of his car anytime?
I did. I actually have video on my phone. I took two of my friends. I took 2 of my friends. When we were in Vegas, they came out to visit, and I took them in the car with Martin, and I literally have a 1-minute video on my phone, and all it is them screaming the entire time as we're driving around.
Wow, that's amazing. I hope in the future we can share part of those moments.
Yes, definitely.
And for you, Elisa, even though it is not necessarily the stunt actions, you are doing this mind game against Jason Bourne. And how does that work? I mean, all the twists and turns, because there's so many of them inside the story.
Well, she's kind of, she's behind those computers, and even though she's not physically doing a lot of action in this film, she's kind of responsible for a lot of action. No, I mean, I would have loved to at least pretend I was in a big car chase, but no, but it was, it was. I really enjoyed it. I got the chance to actually watch that big car chase a few of the nights up in one of the suites at the hotel in Vegas, and I was just really blown away. And just to let you know that it all actually, what you see on screen did happen. My jaw was like down on the floor each night watching.
Wow, it's amazing, but you remain so cool. Well, everything happened around you.
Oh,
so great job over there.
Yeah, I was trying to act.
All right, there we go. And now we should leave some also question time for our press. They've been here for a long time. They wait for you. They're really expecting to ask some questions. Okay, shall we? We got some press friends. 我们现在有一些时间给到我们的媒体同仁，请您呢说出您的媒体是哪一家，简短的说出您的问题。我们不做5分钟的演讲啊。好，来。
Makes the Bourne film so special, and how do you make the film attractive to the audience? Avoid repeating yourself or the old routine. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope. I mean, when I first met Doug Liman, who directed the first movie, what he said to me was, I don't relate to James Bond. He said, I feel like he has values from another time. He doesn't treat women well. Seriously, this is what he said to me. He said he kills people and drinks a martini and makes a joke. He said, I don't relate to that guy at all. And I think, and I love spy movies, and I feel like there's a spy that we could create who would be our generation spy, and who would be somebody that we all related to. And I think that is fundamentally what's at the core of these movies, is that we root for Jason Bourne because he feels like he's on our team. And I think really that is what it is. And it was this insight that Doug had 16 years ago.
He is on our team. Yes, indeed. 然后我们再来一个问题，来自媒体的朋友。
你希望给伯恩一个怎样的未来呢？他的未来生活是什么样的？谢谢。
请您再简单说一下，我没有听的特别清楚。
如果这个电影将终结，他希望给伯恩一个怎样的一个未来的生活？
我们的粉丝已经说 no。This lady wants to ask, what if this is the the end of the Jason Bourne story, and the fans over there saying, no, we don't want that to happen. But the thing is, where do you think the story will go from here?
We really don't know. We always make these movies one at a time. We never think about the future. We, you know, when I signed up for the Bourne Identity, I signed up for one movie and one movie only. And when I signed up for the second one, it was the same thing. And we always want to focus just on the movie in front of us. And then if we really want to make another one, and if people really want another one, then we try to figure out what that story would be. I think what Paul did, which was great, was he created some new characters with Alicia's character, with the Aaron Kalour character that Riz Ahmed plays. You know, there's a really interesting, you know, there's a history between them, and so there is a conceivable way for it to go forward, but I think it'll be a few years away anyway before that happens.
Wait for the stunts later, huh? Yeah. Well, I think that's life, isn't it? Go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
Yes, indeed. 好，我们再有没有问题来提出？哦，好，请这位。
你好，我是法制晚报的。那个，如果有一天《谍影重重》系列画上一个句号，希望不？
这刚才
怎样的一个结局呢？
刚才那位朋友已经问过了，我们还有没有其他的问题可以来自于我们的观众？如果没有，
就是。
Okay, they saw you already. Okay.
我的问题是给 Matt 的，就是说，如果你在现实生活中也像 Jason Bourne 一样，一觉睡醒忘记了自己的身份的话，你会怎么做呢？
那肯定要找粉丝朋友们先问清楚到底是怎么个情况了。She wanted to ask, what if you were Jason Bourne, almost as Jason Bourne in real life, wake up and did not remember anything about your past life? Isn't that wonderful? The 4 kids and the 3 dogs at home.
I would be mortified if I didn't remember my family. Yeah, that would be horrible.
Maybe call Ben.
What's that?
Maybe call Ben. We can call Ben.
But apparently I wouldn't remember Ben. Maybe I'd end up going to see Batman and I'd realize, oh wait a minute, I think I know that guy.
I think Matt will remember all the wonderful stories of Jason Bourne and all the fans you see around the world. So is Alisa, I would assume. Okay, next question. 我们问稍微复杂点的问题好不好
Hey Matt, Hey Alicia， 我这个问题是给 Alicia 的。请问那个我们知道你喜欢挑战各种各样的类型的电影，然后请问你在出演了这些电影，并且获得了奥斯卡之后，还想接受什么样的挑战呢？
She said, I know you, young lady, loves challenges, including play all kinds of roles in different kinds of challenging movies, including, of course, winning the Oscar as supporting actress. So what's next for you? Next challenge?
Well, it's a big one. You know, I started a production company last year, and I've always loved films, and in the same way that, you know, Matt, I've looked up to the fact that he started writing and went into acting that way and really wanted to be involved, and that's also what I've dreamed of being able to do. So on tomorrow I fly back, and on Thursday I'm starting the first film I'm producing.
Wow.
Victoria. So yeah, that one will be my next big challenge.
One small step for you, a big step for mankind, I guess. No, I'm just joking. Okay. What about the next question? Shall we have one more? One more. Shall we? Shall we have? Okay, this young lady.
你好，我是那个新京报的记者，我想问一下 Matt。Matt. Sorry, I'm so excited here. Yeah. Don't care pronunciation. 对，然后从去年开始，因为你参演的从《火星救援》包括《谍影重重》很多部影片，大家都在算美国人为了救你到底花了多少钱。我想问一下，你对这个数字有没有一个计算？然后你怎么看待大家都 care 在这件事情上？然后你花了美国这么多钱，你有什么感想？谢谢。
好，谢谢。She obviously is very good with the budget. You know, she said, so from The Martians to Jason Bourne movies, you know, 5 of them, we spend a lot of taxpayers' money because they want to look for you. Yes. So what do you make of this astronomical amount, first of all? And secondly, what do you plan for your future?
You're not even mentioning Interstellar, which I was on a whole other planet really far away. That one must have cost billions of dollars to come get me. So yes, no, I have cost my
Consider
government.
this as a Capitol Hill hearing, please, sir.
Yes, I'm under oath. I've cost my government far too much money. So in the future, I'll try to save them money. That's what I'm doing.
And Alicia is going to make sure of that.
Yes, exactly.
You're gonna pay back.
Okay. And next question, shall we? Okay. We're really running out of time, but still got time. Okay, please.
我想问一下马特·达蒙一个个人的问题，就是他这次来北京，会去哪些地方吃好吃的东西吗？
你想去是吗？好吧，我也问一下。He really wanted to know all the details of your plan, your catering plan. Yeah. So where to go for the best food in China?
To hear about this.
My recommendation.
Your recommendation, yeah, or whatever is on your list of destinations this time in China.
Oh, I see. Well, no, look, I've been to a bunch of wonderful.
Okay, you don't have to report in according to the time because they might be there for you. But you can just tell us what might be the list. Okay, go ahead.
No, I love a lot of restaurants here, and I've eaten at a lot of wonderful places here. But you know, when I was here, I was working with Johnny Mo, and I had to be in really good shape. So I had to eat very specific, very simple food. So I was eating just a lot of protein, and so I was kind of deprived of the very best of Beijing.
Yeah. What about you, Alicia? Are you enjoying yourself?
I had some duck yesterday, and I would love to go to one of the hot pots.
Oh yeah. Oh, it has to. It has to go with the mutton and the beef, they are the best.
Great, yeah, I'm up for any recommendations.
All right, and the sauce, not to mention we are already eating the dinner time. Anyway, so
Viewers as well. I'd just like to know, you've made some great movies. What's the one movie you think is the best movie you made, and why?
Very academic question.
About 5 or 6 years ago, the second time I was working with Clint Eastwood, we were sitting and talking, and he said, kind of apropos of nothing, he said, a lot of people tell me that, this movie or that movie is a masterpiece, and then I've made other movies that people have been critically just destroyed and didn't find an audience. And he said, I love all of my movies equally. And I know exactly why I made every single movie I made and what time of my life I was in that I made that decision to make that choice. And he goes, and I love them all. And I think that is what it feels like for us. The result is one thing, and it's wonderful. And something like, for instance, The Martian, we never expected that to have the success that it had. We made it because we really loved the story and we wanted to tell it to anybody who wanted to listen. But when something like that happens, as wonderful as it is, it doesn't really change the love that we had for it when we made it. And I've had, just a few years ago, I wrote a movie with John Krasinski and we shot it. It was a small movie, but it never found an audience. And I still love that movie as much as I love Good Will Hunting, So I think it is that thing when you do what we do and you make these things with a group of people and you participate in this collaborative art form and the rush of your life is working with other people and building these things together. You kind of love them all.
You really love them all, really, because every step of the way is your life, isn't it? That's true. Well. The audience is applauding for you. What do you make of the audience today? Aren't they great? If they are, applaud for them as well, shall we? You guys are great. You guys are great. So for now, we would like to have both Alicia and also Matt to stand up to wave to our audience while you are taking a photo in front of our beautiful dress, Alicia, you have today. How would I wave to our audience? Should we go in the middle first? Waving to Beijing. And our fair. And the press, the media over here, thank you so much. Everybody with a smartphone. And okay. 香精 and 屈光刺 an interesting martial art sculpture. The way it looks is just fun, the Chinese martial art. And also a ballerina girl for Alicia.
前面能不能坐呀
All right, that's for Alicia. Yes, and shall we have Joe standing in the middle? Ooh. Yes, shall we have Joe standing in the middle, please, to take a martial art man? All right. 祝贺我们的谍影重重之5，谢谢 Joe， 谢谢 ，Thank you Joe， Thank you so much。女士们、先生们，每次我们会 see the end of one Jason Bourne movie. Usually Jason Bourne and the others just disappear like that. And today we're gonna do the same thing, shall we? 每一次他们都会消失的无影无踪。大步开启 ，wave goodbye to everybody and go from there. Go from there. Yes, go from there. The other way. Yes, right. Bye. See you. Thank you so much.
帅个吧。Hello, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Yeah, can I ask a question? Your first Bond movie was in 2012 in China, and this is probably the second time that landed in China. And how do you think that's due to success?
Wait, my first what? My first?
As far as I heard, that the first Bond movie was like a few years ago, and
here?
Yes.
I see.
And do you think it's still a success in China this time?
I really hope so. I mean, we love these stories, and we feel like the character is really relatable, and you know, hopefully it'll find a big audience here in China, but we'll see. The audience will be the judge.
Do you think China's market is a good place for this film?
It's a good place for every film. It's one of the biggest markets in the world. It's the second biggest right now, and it's only growing. So there are huge movie fans here, which is awesome. And for people like me who make movies for a living, this is an incredibly important place.
Well, thank you very much.
Matt.
Yeah, here's your pen.
There you go.
Oh.
No.
There. This.
Oh no. This.
Yeah.
Go.
Oh,
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Cool.
Thank you. 你应该互相加个微信吧？
一会儿我传给你。一会儿我传给你。啊！不要挤我！不要挤我！
Yeah, I lived here most of last year, and I love it here. I'm very comfortable here. It feels like a second home.
Feels like a second， 已经觉得是第二故乡了，很了不得啊！因为他去年很多时间都在中国度过。What about Alicia?
I'm very happy to be back. I was here for the first time 4 years ago, so and this couldn't happen better. Well, thank you so much.
Everybody loves you guys. And what about this movie? This is a beautiful, wonderful movie. Tell us about that movie and your role over there. I mean, 9 years after that, coming back to this role, Jason Moore.
Those of us who made the first 3, we really love these movies, and we love the character, and we wondered what was going to happen with him, and but we didn't want to make it unless we thought it could really be great, and so we didn't make it for 9 years for that reason. So hopefully it'll be worth the wait for everybody.
Yeah, I heard already from the audience they're really expecting to see this movie tonight.
Oh, good.
Very excited, and they know a little bit, bits and pieces almost about the story. Exactly, is her personality. What kind of role is she playing in the movie, Alicia?
Well, she's kind of ambiguous, I guess. Even when I read the script the first time, I was trying to figure out who this girl is, what her background is, and what her intentions are. But she's a cyber technician who works at the CIA.
Wow, very savvy, cyber savvy.
The character of Heatherly, and that was Alicia, and we were really lucky that she said yes. Because right now in Hollywood, every single person in every single studio is trying to get Alicia Vikander in their movie. So we were very lucky that she said yes.
That's a big compliment, Alicia. What is it like to work with Matt?
Well, if I would have been able to tell, a young Alicia when I an actor that I looked up to inspired me to want to do what I do, and I would never have thought I would, get the chance to work with you one day. These hands, it's pretty surreal.
Yeah, pretty surreal， 就像超现实一样。他说，能够从一个粉丝现在成为电影中的一部分，和 Matt Damon 一起来合作 ，beautiful cooperation. I have to say, you guys did in the movie. But what about that role? I mean, Matt, after all these years, already your fourth Jason Bourne movie. What about that character?
I don't know. I really love the character. I always felt connected to the character. There's something really. I think the same reason audiences like the character. He's a very relatable person, and you have a feeling he's got a lot of integrity. And, so I guess that's it. It's a fun thing to return to. And it was really the fans of the movie, of the 3 movies that we did, that were coming up to us all the time, and to Paul Greengrass and to me separately, and saying, please do another one. That's really why we made this.
And what about for you, Alicia? Cooperating with the director Paul Greengrass, and also at this time, for the very first time, with Matt. Is there any memorable moment?
Oh,
a lot of them.
I mean, I was like you guys. I was, fans of this franchise, and just thrilled knowing that Paul Greengrass.
Are you saying we're going to have a mini Alicia Vikander coming from the audience in the future?
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, yeah, strange things happen, really. No, I mean, yeah, so I was thrilled that they teamed up, and when I, got the chance to walk on set and realize a lot of, I think both Paul and Matt were very keen on making sure that it was not only the, the main cast coming back, but also a lot of people behind the camera. So when you got on set, you can just feel like it was this family of people who have been collaborating and working together for many films for a long time, and they really were just, I was the newbie. They had open arms and had a warm welcome.
他们2位说的都特别谦虚，就说自己非常喜欢电影，这里面有很多的创作，于是他们一直愿意和谍影重重在一起。But I know, Matt, you have to work very hard for something about the stunts in the movie. There are a lot of wonderful moments, the stunts and the actions. For example, about Eskrima. Probably many of our Chinese friends wouldn't even know about that. So tell us more about that. 要知道啊 ，Matt Damon 在《谍影重重5》当中有非常棒的这个动作的表现，其中有一种就叫来自于菲律宾的一种叫棍棒术。接下来咱们请他来解释一下他怎么来学这个棍棒术。So how is it like? The action. Yeah.
Well, I mean, when I started doing these movies 16 years ago, when we started the first one, we started training in martial arts to try to find a style that we thought Jason Bourne would fight, and that's how we ended up where we ended up. And it's really a mix of a bunch of different things, and it takes a lot of training. And what it really is good choreography from our designer and really good stunt people that make me look like I know what I'm doing.
I think you know what you're doing. Is it easy to learn? What is the most difficult part of it?
Well, movie fighting is much more like a dance. In a real fight, it's 2 people pursuing their own agenda. But in a movie fight, you need 2 people moving exactly at the right place at the right time all the time. So it's choreographed. And so what they've been really great about in these movies is always partnering me with somebody who's a better dancer than me. So that's how it works.
How did Matt tango in the martial arts scenes, Alicia?
Oh, it was great. I mean, I enjoyed it. I got to watch a lot of those action scenes up front. I was just, amazed by, the professionalism at the time and the effort and, the hard work that goes into it to make it, look that real and look cool on screen.
It's amazing how Matt is doing these actions, but also amazing, Alicia, I have to say, you remain calm all the time. As the cyber-savvy lady in the CIA, how could you do that? I mean, there's so many things happen around you. You seem to be always...
Traveled, high up in rank in the CIA, made a career, and she seems like she has this kind of firm life mission that she's on. And by having this Navy shield, you kind of have a big, mystery background. You're trying to, read between the lines and behind, her eyes to get what the background is.
Read between the lines, that's probably the way to go. And for you, Matt, it's also amazing, because you 整个的电影当中 ，Matt Damon 所饰演的这个角色 Jason Bourne 只有30句台词。 这说明什么？这说明他要用动作、用演技来表达所有的一切。It's amazing. Like as a TV host, my job is to talk all the time. I don't even know how can I stop talking. I begin acting. So what is it like for you?
Well, words are only one part of a performance, and I think of someone like Vincent Cassel, who in this movie speaks even less than I do, and.
Is our competition going on like this?
No, but it's brilliant the way he holds the screen every time he's on it, and he's very compelling. And look, that's the goal for all of us, is to accomplish the most with the least amount of words. That's the challenge.
I think you did greatly in the movie. 30 sentences only, but such a complicated story. There must, every time when I ask you, you say, oh, I work with the business. She's wonderful. There must be difficult moments for you guys. So what was that moment? Now when you reflect back, what happened?
I didn't hear the question. The moment where...
The challenging moment.
Oh,
I guess just...
Yeah. Well, yeah, you face those moments all the time, but I guess if I choose... Well, one, I never thought I started off in Sweden working in Swedish films, and I didn't really think there would be a possibility to work internationally or English language. A lot of those, movies that I've looked up to growing up is something that I've come closer to and got to meet a lot of those people that I looked up to. And, yeah, so that was a big step.
I had a little peek into the movie before this, and I realized there are moments when you two played exactly the role toward and against one another.
And it's a lot of, to keep acting this intensity means doing a little heavy breathing, and we had to stop so much because both Matt and I got so dizzy that we're like, oh, we're not that cool as our characters. We just get, dizzy because of our oxygen. So we had to do a lot of reading.
Did you remember that moment, Matt?
Absolutely, yeah. Pretty embarrassing.
Now I think we are really having you guys work very hard throughout the day. They are interacting with everyone also here. Shall we have some final words from you? What would you like to say to them? Maybe we begin with Alicia.
Well, thank you so much. I agree. I was a big fan of this franchise, and I had a blast filming it, and when I saw it, I had the best of the ride, so I hope you will have the same experience.
美好的回应关于这一个电影《谍影重重》，大家一定要支持 Alisa 去到影院去看这一部《谍影重重5》。What about for Matt?
I would just say thank you for this incredible reception. Thank you so much.
And they're also here as well.
It really means the world. Hey guys, thank you so much, and we hope you love the movie as much as we do. We put a lot of work into it, and ultimately this movie is for you, so enjoy.
All right. 8月23号，大家不要忘记 August 23rd. That's when we're going to see this movie. Go to the movie theaters.